Welcome back to Midwest Street Cars. About a year ago, we did a BTR 220 camshaft on Jackie's Daily Driver Escalade. Went from a stock grocery getter to a parking lot pimp in one big modification. As you can see, it's a what I would call tastefully modified SUV. It's got 22-inch wheels, it's lowered, got the lowering kit and everything from NorCal SS. Big shout out to the homie. Also, it's got big Willwood brakes all the way around. Same as before, 6.2, normal stuff, cold air that I built. Probably could have saved money by buying one, but you know me, I'd rather spend $100 building it than spend $50 buying it. I don't know, something wrong with me. I'm sure some of you guys can relate. You know, all stock other than big camshaft, DOD delete, AFM delete or modify, whatever. And it has the restrictor and the timing gear, timing chain thing to keep it from adjusting the cam timing as much as it was before. All that stuff was in the kit from BTR. That's really all we've done to it. As you can see, I still haven't mounted the catch can because that's what we do. Worry about the big stuff and we sweat the small stuff on the daily drivers later. Now, if it was on a race car or one of those, or if it was on Wanda, sure, it'd probably get more attention, but the daily drivers always get left out. So still haven't mounted the catch can. I put a K&N catch can deal on my neighbor's truck the other day. Really liked it. Really liked it. Did that for him. He likes it. It was a really nice install. I'll probably just order one of those and do it just the same way I did on his because they're a really nice kit. But for now, it's just got the Moroso can laying over there that, I found in the storage container. So other than that, still the same old stuff. So if you're considering putting a camshaft in your late model GM Gen 5 direct injected engine, I'm going to go over everything that we've seen, everything we've done, any issues, good, bad, ugly, whatever, and some of the questions you guys had back then, some of the questions you've had since then. It's been about a little over a year since we did the cam in our Escalade. Quick little reminder, it's a 2016, 2017 Escalade, 6.2 liter. Gen 5, direct injected, blah, 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 8-speed, the whole deal. We made the decision to go with the Brian Tooley Racing 220 cam, their DOD delete kit, and the active fuel management stuff. So it limits the amount of movement that the cam can make, the cam phaser machine thing. So it limits the amount of movement that can make. And, you can make changes on that in the tune-up or whatever, but we did the whole thing from Brian Tooley. He sells it all. So we got the whole kit, the whole shebang installed in the engine, and we've been driving it. It's her daily. She's been driving it for a little over a year. Issues that we've seen, we did have one. Probably our fault because we really should have did a rocker turning kit back then. Anytime you go with a bigger camshaft on these LSLT engines, they recommend to put a rocker turning kit in because the factory rocker bearing situation isn't great. About a few months ago, she was driving down the road, started making a noise. Lucky enough, she's, very knowledgeable on that stuff. She heard the noise, she pulled over, figured out what it was. I went and got the truck, and it had a busted rocker trunnion, or the bearings had failed. Kaput. No more, no mas. Just to make a noise. Ticket, whole way down the road. Ticket. Called BTR, got their trunnion upgrade, did that install. You can check that video out also. Pretty simple, very intuitive deal, knocked it out, got that done. Other than that, no issues. Everything's been solid. It is a rowdy camshaft. The BTR 220 is for a stock Escalade, it's rowdy. The parking lot pimping is there for sure. The exhaust is, just a Flowmaster single in, dual out or whatever, but it is rowdy. It thumps. It's a weird sound coming from an Escalade. Those are the only major issues that we've had. The other stuff is, pretty much normal stuff. I had never tuned this exact situation before, so I had to learn all that. Got all that done. There were a few things that fought me that I wasn't used to. The virtual torque stuff was, took a little bit of getting used to. I had done the virtual VE, so that wasn't a big deal. But, the transmission stuff also, because it has a stock torque converter with that big of a camshaft, and that's a lot of you guys' questions was, did you put a bigger converter in it? Is it still stock converter? And we did not. It's a stock converter from factory. And it, it makes it a little more difficult to tune. But the transmission settings and the training stuff and the EC or the TCU, whatever you call it, that really helped because I was able to change the shifting stuff a little bit, make it shift a little harder, run them out a little longer, and that really helped the converter situation. Now, at a dead stop, like at a red light or whatever, stock converter, big cam. Anybody that's driven one, it's fun to get right. With the tuning, you can do a lot that helps. But we do have really big Willwood brakes on this thing, so we haven't had a whole lot of trouble with keeping it stopped or stopping it or it pushing through the brakes or nothing like that. Everything with that regard has been pretty simple. I will say in the tune-up stuff, there's a few things you can look out for. I'll go over that in just a second. The only other issue that we had, and it's not camshaft related, but when we did the camshaft and we got rid of the DOD and all that, to me, when you get rid of the DOD stuff, then it's time to treat it like a regular engine, So I was running a diesel, I was running a Rotella 1540 in the motor. And I will say, I finally found an application where that doesn't work. That diesel oil has so much calcium in it or soap, detergent, whatever you want to call it, to clean the soot from the diesel, that in a direct injected engine, the injectors don't like that, apparently. So we did have one injector go out a few months back. It was, of course, super easy to change, pop the manifold off and it's right there. But we're full transparency here. I would say don't run diesel oil in your direct injected engine. That's my take on it. It could have just been a fuel injector went bad. That does happen. Could have just been that. Could have just been fuel injector went bad, 100,000 miles. Stuff happens. Or it could have been, the oil. I don't know. That's a question for Lake Speed Jr., I imagine. The oil geek on YouTube. He's got some good stuff on that subject. But the fuel mileage, a lot of your guys' questions are regarding fuel mileage. Not that it's something that I would, put a whole lot into, because you do have this is a 7,000 or 7,500 pound vehicle. It's all-wheel drive, and it has a 6.2 liter engine in it. So, fuel mileage isn't the biggest of concerns here, but in today's economy with everything else, it's nice to have a little fuel mileage. I will say, it surprised me. With her driving it, mostly highway stuff, it'll get 19, 20, no problem. With me driving, and this is calculated, not dashboard stuff, but with me driving it around town, it'll get 16 to 18. So we may drive a little different. In the tune-up stuff, I did find some weird things. Stoic was set at 14.1 or 14.0, pretty rich. Changing that and getting it up where the fuel is actually, because it's not E85 truck or whatever, it's all regular gasoline. So changing that, doing, tuning the VVE and the dynamic air and all that stuff, all that helped with the fuel mileage. And then also the transmission settings, to where it's not just staying loaded and it's not staying at super low RPM, but not a super high RPM either, all that stuff helped. There's also some weird stuff in the tune-up that I figured out too, like the voltage is adjustable. That one kind of threw me for a loop, but it is really cool because this thing runs around at like 15.4 volts all the time now that I've adjusted it. So it's almost like having a 16 volt race car in a Escalade. It definitely seems to act better at 15 volts than it did at whatever it was before, 13, 4, 5 or whatever. Exhaust. We got rid of the cats. back then, but we didn't do headers. Still haven't done headers. We need to do headers, to be honest with you. That should be the next thing on the list for this is headers. But so because we didn't do headers, the the manifolds aren't flowing super good because they're factory manifolds. So it's leaving a little bit of timing on the table, especially going uphill at low RPM with a lot of load on it and like 6th, 7th, 8th gear, whatever. I had to lower the timing in that area so much that from my original tune, you would think bigger camshaft would want more timing down low, but I think because of the manifolds, it's just not letting the air out fast enough. So I think that would be a big help. If we put some headers on it, we could put a little more timing down low. As it goes, it's all dynamic. So if you heat the combustion chamber up with too much timing or not enough airflow out of the exhaust at anywhere near low RPM, it just stays hot, and so you can't put timing in it up high because you already superheated it down low. So I think putting headers on it make it run a lot better. Plus, I think it would sound better too. But oh yeah, and the virtual torque stuff, man, that was a lesson. That one took me a little while to get it right. Just when I think I have it right, everything would be going good, and the truck would run great for a week, and then it would start acting weird out of nowhere. Just you'd go to pull up a hill to pull out of a gas station, or back up a hill into the driveway, or whatever, and you would let off the gas, and it would dip way down, and then pick way up and surge, and then it would idle out fine. And it was really weird because it wouldn't do it until a week or so of driving it. After you put a tune-up in it, it'd fix it, and it'd go a week or so, and then it would start doing it. And so that was the virtual torque. I went in, had to tune, watch some more videos from those guys on YouTube, and read some more stuff on HP Tuners. Finally figured out I just didn't have the virtual torque stuff right down low. Once I fixed that stuff, it was, honestly, right now, it's very enjoyable to drive. It is a fun truck to drive, to be honest. I love it. I really do. 10 out of 10 would do again, but with the caveat as you know what you're getting into here. You know what I mean? You're putting a big rowdy cam, and I say big, not big like race car big, but you're putting a big camshaft in a daily driven stock vehicle with an 8-speed tranny and stock converter. There's gonna be a few things that you gotta get figured out. Now, if you're smarter than me and you have a professional tuner that can tune these things and does this for a living every day, honestly, you wouldn't have had any of the issues that we had, other than we had that rocker deal and the injector deal. But other than that, like, all of the stuff we've dealt with is tune-up stuff. And now that we've got it done, and now that it's right, I mean, we haven't touched the tune-up in months, and it runs killer. I love it. I really, really love it. And especially if I'm behind her and she's driving somewhere, you look around, you're like, dude, where's the race car? Where's this, you think it's a new Camaro or something, race car or Corvette somewhere, because you're just like, where is it? And it's this big, giant, blacked out Escalade, which is cool. So I would say don't stress about it. Don't worry about it too much. Just do it. Put the camshaft in it, but have it in your budget and in your mind that you're going to have somebody tune it, and not some race car guy like me who can tune stuff, but, doesn't do this for a living, because it's going to take a few tries for somebody to get this thing the way you want it. Guys that have tuned Gen 3 and Gen 4 stuff are going to be behind on the Gen 5 stuff if they don't do it every day. The direct injected Gen 5 deal, it's a different deal to tune. It's all torque based. So, but man, I will say this, like, if you're a Gen 3 or Gen 4 guy, these Gen 5 sure are nice when you know what you're doing, because you can go in there and make it do it, and it's beautiful, and it works, and the computer's so fast compared to the Gen 3 stuff or whatever. But as far as tuning, data logging, all that stuff, I use HP Tuners. That's what I used on this the whole time. I've got a Ballinger wideband. I use that for the wide open throttle stuff. That wideband was only on the truck for a week maybe of just doing wide open throttle and 3/4 throttle or whatever stuff. Most of the tuning was done just on the narrow bands, just logging the dynamic air stuff and the VVE versus MAF, VVE versus, all that. Just doing that and watching the fuel trims, you can get these things really, really close. So, and they rip. These Gen 5 motors rip. They really do. I'm very impressed with this. It really makes me want to put a Gen 5 motor in my truck, Wanda. my old short wide bed deal, my 2010 or whatever it is. It's really hard right now not to put a big naturally aspirated rowdy Gen 5 motor in my truck. I really want to do that, but I don't want to deal with the computer and swapping all the electronics and everything and putting, but man, it'd be cool to have an 8-speed with a Gen 5 deal in there. Anyway, so there you go. That's my rant on our 1-year update. Hopefully, this will give you a little bit more of an idea of what you're going to be up against. As far as, doing the work, there's plenty of videos out there. Danny Johnson's Garage, all those guys, they've went in well within, way out of the range of depth of how to do this mechanical part of it, the swap. You don't have to take my word for that stuff, but just giving you, an idea of what you'd be up against. And man, once it's done and it runs good, buddy, changes the whole thing. Like, used to be, if I was going down to the store, going to get something, I had to run an errand, go to the parts house, whatever, I would rather take my truck or whatever. But, now, man, it's fun to drive that Escalade around because, it's a big, rowdy truck. It's, it's America. It is all America. So, anyway, go for it, do it, put a camshaft in your stuff. Call Brian Tooley. Big shout out to Brian Tooley Racing, by the way. They have kits that make all this stuff easy, and you don't have to source the parts and go everywhere and find it. They've done all that for you. So if you're thinking about doing it, if you don't have to go with a big 220 rowdy cam. I've heard plenty of the Stage 2 stuff that still sounds really good, and I'm sure it runs really good, and it's probably easier to tune. But me, if we're gonna put a camshaft in this deal, we're gonna put a whole gas camshaft in this, and that's what we did. So we love it. Anyway, go for it. Make it happen. Have fun with your vehicles. Go do some car shit. Get the hell out of here.